Hey guys, it's Cal from the Lighting Doctor here. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this consultation series. We're going to give you all kinds of tips and tricks for effectively and properly lighting up your home. This is a free consultation that we do for all our clients. So if you want to get your free consultation, just shoot me an email at cal@lightingdoctor.ca. Send me a few pictures and we'll give you a video presentation of what lights are going to work best with your property, or go and visit us at lightingdoctor.ca or go check out all our videos on YouTube.
Hey Matt, thanks for reaching out, for sending the pictures. I totally agree with you. I think you've got a great property with some amazing stonework on it, and I think it would be a shame not to accent that. So I will show you some ideas on how I would probably do this if it was a project that we were doing, and especially to get the most bang for your buck. I'm primarily going to be talking about some uplights and some wash lights, and I'll show you where I would use those. There's definitely could be some potential for some path lights, but I think you're going to get more bang for your buck out of using some uplighting in this case. So what I would do is, the first thing I would do is I would start with these 4 pillars or 4 columns that you have, because I think it's going to do twofold. Really threefold. It'd do 3 things, but I would try and get some accent lights, and just a standard accent light like this guy, and try and bury it down to the knuckles, so that you get that light source starting as low to the ground as possible, so that you can accent some of the nice stone that you have below, and then highlight these columns here. And the reason for that is, anytime you have a white surface, you get a lot of reflective light, and it really makes those stand out. So by doing that, we're highlighting the stone below, we're highlighting these columns, and then because you have the angle of the light, it also highlights this the soffits here, and then you get some reflective light back down on path lights, garden beds, whatever you're doing here. So rather than having to put a bunch of extra path lights in there, you usually get a lot of residual light, and it does a really nice job of lighting up this whole area and makes this whole first story tier really stand out. The only thing I might consider doing, now I know you did say you have the 3 porch lights, which I agree with you. They're probably going to be too bright that you're not going to keep them on all the time. That's why I think this is a good way to go about it. But you may want to throw hex baffles in these. And all that is, it's a little honeycomb shaped filter that fits over the lights, just so that as you're walking by the porch and stuff, and especially the 2 by the doorway, that as you walk by them, it just helps deflect some of the glare, so that that light's not shining right in your eye. But I think that's your best bang for your buck. You get 6 of those as opposed to a bunch of path lights and stuff. And I think it's going to do everything you want in the front, including highlighting the stone, the columns, give you some reflective light for the beds and pathway, is how I would do that. You talked about this second story here with the challenge with seeing the lights and stuff, and I agree. You would totally be missing out if you didn't highlight this. To answer one of your questions, I do get that a lot. It says, if I put a light here, I'm scared that it's going to go into the kids' bedroom window, but rarely do I find that that is an issue. It's usually not bright enough, but I think what the best way to approach this is going to help alleviate that problem anyway. But what I would probably do, because a lot of times what I find is exactly like you said, if you mount it on the gutter and have it shining towards the house, which I think looks great, you do notice that light a little bit more because it kind of stands out with the gutter. But because you have the nice black top here, what I would probably do is I'd probably try and mount those lights a little bit closer, because the other thing that does too is, sometimes when you have a larger porch roof like this and you try and light it from here, it lights a lot of the roof, that's not necessarily what you're trying to do. You're trying to get the stone. So you probably want to mount that light a little bit closer to the house and to the stone anyway. And the way you can do that is, you can just go get any kind of mounting bracket. Usually we just use like a small black flange that you can find at like Home Depot or whatever, that has a 1/2-inch thread. All the lights have a 1/2-inch thread on the bottom, so as long as you have a 1/2-inch female thread that you can screw the light into instead of a ground stake, you can go and mount it on the roof here. And what I would do is I would actually probably use these wash lights and try and get them a little closer, because that'll also help alleviate it not being too bright for the kids' window. And I would probably try and mount one, again, the closer you can get it to the house, the better, because then it's not going to be shining in that window, and it's going to do a better job of catching the texture of the stone of the house. And at minimum, I would do 1, 2, 3, 4 of those in this whole middle section, and kind of in between the windows, because again, softer light, it's not going to be as bright, so you don't have to worry about it shining in the windows. Plus, if you get it closer to the house, shining it more up in between the windows, it also helps alleviate any extra brightness, and it's going to do a better job of highlighting the stonework. You could always do 6 of those. I'm not saying that would be bad. I think it would also look good on the corners. It just depends on budget and stuff too, but at minimum I would do the 4 in betweens, and then I would use that same light and I would gutter mount and get these 2nd story dormers as well, which I think you mentioned about, because then you've really got all 3 tiers of the house covered, just with uplighting, which I love. Anytime you can do a project and you don't even have to have any path and garden lights, I just think it stands out a little bit more. And then, like you said, I mean, any of the feature trees like the magnolia and stuff that you have, by all means, throw an accent light in there. Evergreens are always tricky. As you probably know from your last project, I usually find that if you're trying to highlight an evergreen tree, you're probably going to need to use more than one more than one light, just because the way the trees go, they kind of go away from the light, whereas a deciduous tree, the canopy catches most of that light, but an evergreen is the opposite of that. So a lot of times you got to kind of catch it from 2 angles, and just keep in mind whatever viewing angles it is. So if that evergreen's going over here and you want it to look good from this angle and this angle, you probably want to throw 2 lights on that. So hopefully that gives you a good idea, Matt. Let me know if you need me to kind of help customize a kit or anything for you with some of the things that I talked about, like gutter mounts, hex baffles, that kind of stuff. Again, you can I can sell you mounts that you can mount here, but I mean, they're $30-40, whereas you can go to Home Depot and you can get a 1/2-inch threaded any kind of mounting bracket for $4 or $5, and you can get it black, so it blends in really good. And the one thing I will say, because I get this a lot too, is they say, oh, but you'll see the light, and realistically, you're going to notice it more than anybody else. Most people will not notice that light there. They might see this little, black thing popping out, but they never think nothing of it. It's we're always more critical of ourselves, and me included. When I go mount lights, I'm always think, oh man, that looks so bad, and the homeowner just loves it and doesn't even notice it until you tell them. So anyway, hope that helps. If you have any questions, just shoot me another email. Thanks, Matt.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed that video presentation with some great tips and tools on how to go and properly and effectively light up your landscape. And be sure, if you want your own free consultation video just like that one, send me an email at cal@lightingdoctor.ca with a few pictures of your property, and we'll get back to you with some really cool ideas and ways to go and effectively light your property. And be sure to watch the videos after this one for more tips on how to install landscape lighting, as well as how to light up your landscape the best way possible.